Alright guys, hope to come back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. The Pro-Am Classic is over. 4 events down this season, 4 different championship winners based on how results concluded today. Incredible Call of Duty, great storylines as well. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks for all the great support these last few days this weekend as well. Let's dive into things then. Of course, we'll talk about Optic on here in just a few minutes time in their game up against Los Angeles Thieves. Of course, first of all though, it was the Subliners in action up against the Toronto Ultra. Really interesting series. 2 teams that both came top 4, I believe. Well, both were at least in the top 4. It was New York Subliners, I believe, at the kickoff that came top 4. Toronto went on to win the entire thing. This time it's New York Subliners that get the better of them in the semi-finals. Krim, of course, always a great time when he gets an interview under his belt. I was hoping he'd get at least one more on the day. And great potential thumbnail image right here that might end up on the thumbnail. We'll see how that one goes. Game 1, the New York managed to take it. This Picacho was pretty comfortable actually in the end. This seems to be the formula lately for the Subliners. Kismet drops a 0.8, or something in the respawns, but brings a lot of pressure and great communication, and then the other 3 guys really take over the game. Hydra drops a 41, 40, and 30. Krim and Paulex, they also played very well. On the other side, it was Clinics who had a bit of a shocker, to be honest, and certainly his series here wasn't great. It's really been Cammy and Clinics, their kind of resurgence over the past, week or so, really, this event, that had taken them back to actually looking like a competitive team, because when they were kind of slumping pretty hard in Stage 2, Toronto looked terrible. With them kind of playing at a decent level, they can now do something here, but of course, it's a single elimination event. Top 4's decent. They beat a pretty bad Seattle team to get to, and of course, they took down Florida Mutineers, which was a very solid result, but more work to be done, no doubt, for this team. They do manage to tie up the series after the search and destroy. Paulex is like, look, if you'd have said what I was doing that first P2 of the Bacage, you'd have thought I was Thanos himself, and so, it turns out not to be the case in the Game 2, but Game 3 does go their way. This is really what has impressed me as well, the clutch factor in the Subliners, because certainly some teams haven't shown it so far this year. This is one great example. 2 offenses in a row they managed to clutch over 2 in this control. This one was pretty ridiculous. 2 versus 2 on the point. Crimson gets the first kill. Kismet trades him out to send it to round 5. They still get offense though regardless, but they clutch this one out as well. A crazy offense actually to win right here. The Subliners understandably hyped about it, and Toronto not really sure how they threw a couple of these rounds away in a row, but it's 9-9 at this point. The kills come in favour of New York. They get just about the time to get on the point. They pretty much get it to a point of being able to capture, but 4 seconds on the clock left at this point. They're stacking it hard, and comes down to a 6 versus 2, but still only 1 second on the clock about this point here. It's ticking down. They just about Paulex gets in the point with 1 second to go, and he finds the kills, closes out the round. That pretty much was the dagger in the series. Crimsix was dropping the kind of Doctor Strange thing going on. Look at this guy. It's absolutely incredible what he's doing right here after they win the series, sending them to the another dimension. Of course, they went on to win the Tuscan Harbor, and a crazy Tuscan Harbor, and it was so back and forth. But Subliners closing out. Impressive, really. Toronto will be concerned about losing all the respawns to New York. Of course, a team New York that weren't particularly good, at least before the Kismet change in the respawn game modes. Losing all respawns again to them is a bit of a concern, no doubt. But of course, they've got plenty of work to do these upcoming weeks as well. But still, sticking as a team seems to be a viable strategy, but also changing, in New York's case, also seems to be a viable strategy. Crimsix enjoyed himself here. GG's Ultra. We won 3-1. That was easily the most intense series I've played on Vanguard so far. Definitely the way it concluded was very intense indeed. But still, they run to the grand finals was very impressive. Clinic says, look, we know we are way better than that. That series is on me. Straight into it next weekend versus Seattle, right? So still, room for improvement for Ultra, but they seem to have taken some steps. Whether they're only good at these kind of single limb classic type tournaments, I guess we shall find out over the coming days. These are the kind of overall series stats right there. Krim to me was the MVP, 1.07. In fairness though, Kismet played great. There were so many good moments for most of the players on the Subliners here, and Clinics, if he has a better series, maybe things go slightly better for the Toronto guys in this one. This of course also from Crimsix. Just wanted to share this clip for you guys real quick, because the words that Crimsix had to say here are absolutely hilarious. He's firing some shots at Rambo. He's also saying, look, give me Scumpy in the grand finals. I want to battle him for this championship.
That was a good win. Give me Scumpy. I want it.
That's what I wanted to
Shreds. I'm gonna tear him to shreds. And Rambo? Yo, Ray.
All right, that's it for the Game Field Victory Spotlight.
Thank you so much, Crimson. Hey, listen, man, we'll see what the finals go like.
1.07. Beast mode.
This I thought was a phenomenal statistic that Random and Sats point out. Another grand finals appearance here from Crimsix. So of course last year in Dallas the team was pretty good at times, right? They made the grand finals of, I guess it was stage 5, and then as Random and Sats points out, he's made at least one grand final in every season he's competed in since 2012 at the very least. That is a remarkable statistic, no doubt. Makes this one with this team that seemed to be nowhere not long ago, and all of a sudden they're competing for grand finals. And the run to get to that point was pretty impressive, I thought. They took down Thieves 3-0 in their groups. They then beat Team War 3-1, Ravens 3-0, 2-0, Paris Legion 3-0, and then Toronto 3-1. You can argue this isn't the most impressive run in the world, but still some pretty decent teams here, especially with the way the weekend ended up progressing, and the fact that the Subliners are a very new team indeed. Let's dive into the Optic series then. They play Los Angeles Thieves, always a very entertaining series, I feel like whenever these two teams play each other, it doesn't matter what team is on what form at the time, or whether one team's got a sub or one team's just in a horrible run of form, they're always going to have a good match. It feels like every single game between these two is always an entertaining affair. And well, certainly in the respawns, in the hard points, that's where Thieves have looked very strong indeed so far. And with them kind of Optic struggling in that one, you could have argued that they could have lost that series 3-1 to FaZe, right? The respawn is probably what's going to struggle more with the substitute than the search and destroy. I think we saw that in this series most certainly. And of course we saw that FaZe lost that game for hard points to the Optic guys, lost both search and destroys. I think Optic probably had to do something similar here. They almost got it done. Wasn't quite the case though. Game 1 goes the way of Los Angeles Thieves. Pretty impressive stuff honestly all across the board. Envoy again, Envoy was an absolute monster. It does seem to me that Kenny, despite not having the greatest stats, the added aggression that he puts up on this SMG role allows Envoy to really really decimate, to be honest. Drazah I think has been better, and Octane is finally hitting the kind of form we expect Octane to be hitting, right? He looked so lost for so long in this season, but his gunny is still absolutely there, there's no doubt. Finally looks a bit more comfortable and has started to drop some big numbers, right? So of course, they come out firing on this game 1 Berlin. Of course, Thieves didn't really want to battle them on maps where Optic might have a better chance, but Berlin's certainly not been Optic's best, even with Illy, and with General, of course, it's generally not going to be an easy time. Los Angeles Thieves take the game 1, but this search and destroy was a massive bounce back from them again. Optic with General in search, even with Illy in fairness in search, but still, they've looked really good. General with a very nice 1v2 right here to clutch up those rounds. As soon as he clutches, this one really turns the tide of the map, to be honest. They win the next 6 rounds in a row, or 5 rounds after this one. Octane just about finds General, doesn't have enough though to win the rounds. That's 1-1, soon becomes 6-1, and Optic type the series, but they certainly need to take a respawn if they wanted to take this series away from Los Angeles Thieves. They almost did it on this control. It was a really close fought affair. Thought they were going to do it at times, but just the way Gavutu control works, especially with teams that maybe a more polished Optic with Illy finds a way to win one of these offenses and hence gets the advantage in the map. But generally when we see two teams that maybe aren't super well versed and relatively new to control, they will have a very hard time generally winning their offenses. That kind of happens here. One tick goes the way of Los Angeles Thieves, it doesn't go the way of Optic. They get the defense round 5, they close the map. It's just kind of one of these things that happens at this point. Berlin I think is more fun in this regard because it is more often that you see these kind of caps that can come through, and also Tuscan to the same degree as we have seen. But it goes to the final game as well. Dashi made a ridiculous play right here over towards this P2 to try and keep Optic alive. It was an incredible back and forth game. The same thing really happened in this map than it did against FaZe, right? It was okay, look, Thieves probably should win this one, but I don't know how Dashi's made that happen with the pistol. This rat's absolutely unbelievable. 4 HP, and some crucial kills from Dashi to keep them alive in this. But in the end, Los Angeles Thieves just about go over line. They just had too many glide bombs. There were so many glide bombs this series, and some of them were used at critical moments for Thieves. Fair play honestly on the streak usage front, because we've certainly seen previously when they get into these kind of crunch time moments, they can collapse and fall apart or use the glide bomb incorrectly or get a bit ahead of themselves. Didn't really seem to do that here at all. They used it pretty much perfectly, saved it for when they needed to, got the kills they needed, broke into the hard points, closed out the series. This is obviously one of the maps where they were very good at the start of the year. They beat Optic on this very map actually at the kickoff classic to knock them out in a very similar 3-1 fashion. Of course, this time General was here as a substitute, difficult time for Optic, no doubt. I feel like they did really well. Coming into this weekend, even getting top 8 was a good achievement for Optic given the circumstances they had, and even with Illy filling in for their first game, didn't maybe set them up for the success that they might have had if they'd had maybe more time with General, or maybe that one extra series to get a bit more comfortable with him. Of course, beating FaZe to get top 4 was great, but again, the loss to the Los Angeles Thieves in the end, pretty big deal. Of course, I'm sure they will like to win it, but maybe one step too far for this Optic team. When Illy comes back, that might be the step, because General really didn't have the greatest time this series, but on the whole did a very good job filling in for them, and even as Hitchers, right, 2 glide bombs away from being in the grand finals playing with a substitute, right? So if things had been different, right, on the control with the glide bomb and also on the hard point in the end with the glide bomb, that things could have been the other way. Very close for taking down Thieves, but in the end, they actually clutch up some of these hard points, right, which is kind of rare for Thieves so far, well, at least this season. Nadeshot was getting in on the act as well. Grand finals next. I know General was filling in for Illy, but OG still looked dangerous in the entire event, so good to see Thieves, in my opinion, back in the fight. That's kind of what we want to see. FaZe, Optic, those are the 2 top dogs. I want to see someone else right up there competing with them, and Thieves should be that organisation. They are that calibre of organisation. They are that calibre of players, and as a team, they should be there. And finally they're proving that capability. Still, I did want to see a little bit more from them in terms of, clutching up some search and destroys and stuff. We'll see how that goes here in a few minutes time. But Optic Texas, well, of course they finished top 4, 25k earned. Not bad, all things considered, with the substitute that comes through. As Scump says, GG to Thieves, fell short, should have capitalised on that control. Felt like if they'd have won that one, they probably would have turned it around. Thanks so much to General though to fill in onto stage 3. These are the final series stats. Dashi just has a 1.40. I had a monster map. I feel like honestly there was a degree to which with General subbing in, it was either effective expecting one of Dashie or Shotzi. Kind of rare that you see both of them, or like one of them even, not have a great series. Like, usually it's either, you know, Dashie and Shotzi both kind of killing it actually, and Scump's there or they're about to win, and Lily's doing whatever, but it's kind of rare to see, you know, one of them struggling in a series, as kind of both of them have done at different times this past weekend. Kenny, honestly, like, he had a great series. Envoy as well had a phenomenal one. Drazah kind of deserved a bit better than I think a 0.92 here, because his final map as well was very impactful indeed. And then Wallace, even as Naval says, I've been saying Kenny should run a sub right. They get into the grand finals. First event they do it, they're straight in the finals. And as Chrome points out then, 4 events this season, 4 different winners to be crowned. Either the Subliners or Thieves would win it all. And that crazy run that Subliners had would continue in the grand finals, but certainly it didn't start off going their way. Los Angeles Thieves come out, and in fairness, right, Subliners played the game slightly earlier against Toronto, so Los Angeles Thieves probably should have been slightly warmer. They come into this game one, of course, their hardpoint's been very good, demolish New York. I'm like, okay, I'm going to second it, lads. Like, you know, all of a sudden we're going to see something different, very different happen to what we expected. Might be a dominating grand finals in their favour, the way they looked against Optic, of course. Not the way it goes, though, but game 1 Envoy was honestly a monster. Like, really, Thieves are hitting some stride. It is good to see that, you know, finally we've got some other teams looking competitive. Yes, this tournament is single elimination. You're therefore going to get some, well, maybe stranger placings than you would get otherwise. But both of these teams absolutely deserve to be in the grand finals. They showed that through the group stages. Both of these teams actually in that Group C. I wouldn't have expected that, you know, Group C would have had the strongest competition all weekends. But yeah, Subliners that lose game 1, they bounce back impressively in the game 2 then. And this is the thing really with Los Angeles Thieves, that still, when push comes to shove, they don't seem to quite be able to get over line. Here in New York, I mean, they bounce back in this game 2. Kismet goes 9-3. He had an up and down grand finals most certainly. But in this game, like, yeah, a crucial moment for him. Really does seem to be the initiator in a way to help the rest of this team really demolish. And when he's dropping good numbers, the team's going to be hard to stop. They bounce back in the Search and Destroy. We get an absolute bore fest, unfortunately, here in the game 3 control. I honestly almost wish they would get rid of Gavutu now and just go back to 2 control maps with just Berlin and Tuscan, because both of those maps are so much more entertaining. Like, this is a classic affair where Subliners get an extra tick, they get an extra couple of ticks on their first offense. They kind of close out round 5 eventually. They close out. In fairness, they did look like the better team this map, because the very final offense, Thieves got absolutely nothing together at all. And yeah, it's Hydra with a 35-20 performance here. Like, finally, I'm so happy that Hydra's finally got a tournament victory, because this guy has been an absolutely phenomenal player since he came into the league on Subliners last season. And you know, of course, he's really struggled. Made a grand finals last year. I think it was the stage 3 major when New York lost to FaZe 5-2, I think it was. This time he's in another grand finals, and he's showing why he deserves to be there, no doubt about it. Kismet has a good map here as well, but Crimsix, you gotta give this guy credit, man. Like, this is his 50th tournament final. He's going for his 37th tournament victory. Like, he's seen what Scump has done earlier this year, and he won an event. Crim's like, okay, whatever you can do, I'm gonna try and match it, right? And he has a fantastic performance in the grand final. He said earlier in the video he wanted to take down Scump. Didn't get the chance to do it to Scump, but certainly did it to Octane. There was a bit of drama between those two last season. Gets the job done in game 3, gets the job done in the game 4 as well. They win the Tuscan hardpoint, a map that honestly Thieves rarely ever use, but some great clutch factor. I mean, Crimsix dropped like 35 final map as well. Like, he had a great showing. Like, yeah, he really turned up in the grand finals. And Thieves, once again, like, kind of close hardpoints, they fall short. Not saying that's going to be a consistent trend for them. It's certainly, like, that is my still concern with this Thieves team, that when it does come to like crucial moments like that, grand finals, Search and Destroys and stuff, they're still going to fall apart. But Subliners, like, massive credit to them, because they dropped 3 maps all weekend. Say all you want about the tournament format or whatever, but they beat some pretty good teams in their bracket, beating Los Angeles Thieves, clearly a pretty good team on this measurement, 6-1 in over the course of the weekends. Like, they look very solid, and Kismet, despite individually not doing anything spectacular, he seems to have absolutely helped get the best out of these guys and put Crimsix in a grand final. Like, this guy's won like 75% of all the grand finals he's been in. Put him in that situation, he's more than likely going to get you over the line. Final series stats are like this: Hydra with a 1.24, Crim with a 1.19, like most damage in the lobby for Crimsix by quite some way. And yeah, they get the job done. Of course, can they continue this momentum through? Thieves and Subliners both showing, as I kind of said earlier, that both models work here. Make a change and improve, or stick together, make a role change, like stick with it and also improve. Both teams have, well, made fantastic progress. Whether they can continue this into Major 3 qualifiers that begin in just a few days, that remains to be seen. But so many topics I'm sure we're going to discuss here over the coming days. Very much intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit on a like button, tell us YouTube gods, this is a good video, others like you should see it as well, and I've got the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you as always, take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.